different. And there are so many kinds of stuff and so many past histories. So, you know, I also work with people who will do, if you want to hold on to some of that history, I have people who will interview family members, and they will write a book and put it in on audio, video in a book, and you can have you can save the memories that way. So that's something to think about. So we're getting towards where we want to get rid of our stuff, and we're trying to look at why we're still holding on to them, right? So you have the, I'm going to finish this when I have time. I paid a lot for it, right? These appliances these gadgets we buy and we don't, you know, you use them once and we never use them again. And then the electronics, right? How long am I supposed to keep this? There is some market for old electronics. You know, the old turntables do well. Sometimes the boom boxes, but you're not going to make a fortune on it. And also with collections, people don't like to part with their collections. Well, you don't have to keep everything. You could keep a couple of them, or 2 or 3 of them, if you don't really want to part with them, right? So these are some sayings that I found on the internet. And you know, ask yourself why you are avoiding opening a box or sorting through papers. You know, face it head on, or the situation will mushroom. And you know, you're ready when you're ready. I don't tell people to get rid of things if they're not ready. You have to be ready to do this, and it is difficult, and it is a process. So you can start a little bit at a time, and that does make it easier as things go on, right? And then hang on to the good stories. It's not about getting rid of everything. It's about keeping what's really important. And when you part with past items, just let it go, right? And once you commit to purging and editing your clutter, so it doesn't become overwhelming, you know, you'll find that it gets easier and easier every time you do it. So when you're going into doing this, beware of how your emotions are playing into organizing. Start doing it when you feel good. Keep the best and let go of the rest. And that's the best way to start approaching it, when you have a good attitude. So when you are organized, right, you reduce your clutter, you save time, you increase productivity because you don't have to look for things all the time. You're reducing stress because you feel a little more in control of your day and your space. When you're organized, you have more space, you maximize the space that you have. It creates solutions. That's what I do. I help people create solutions to keep clutter at bay. And it's also for seniors, as we get older, it's important to be organized and be decluttered so we can stay safe in our homes, right? So when you're a child, you child-proof your home. And when you're a senior, you age-proof your home. So we're on our way to organization. And ask yourself, would I buy this item for full price again? How would this impact my daily life if I didn't have it, right? You can always ask to borrow things. You can always, you know, there's a lot of questions to ask before you go out there again to buy something. Is having this item worth the space it's taking up? And could someone else use this item? So here's a little organizing inspiration. Right? If you've had something for 6 months and it's still not repaired, it's clutter. If you have to dust it, you'd better love it. For the longest time, I thought I needed to be more organized. Now I know I just needed less stuff, right? And less stuff means less to clean, less to organize, less to store, less mess, right? And have nothing in your house that you do not know to be useful or believe to be beautiful. And we should be choosing what we want to keep, not what we want to get rid of. So that's why I say when you start to organize, ask yourself, do I love it? Do I need it? Do I use it? Right? And decluttering is not, let's not confuse decluttering or downsize with minimalism. From a blog post I read on consideredlife.com, decluttering is a method and minimalism is a lifestyle. So while decluttering focuses on physical things and places a lot of importance on those items, minimalism teaches us a new approach, right? Decluttering can be very therapeutic. It frees up our space and liberates us from the stuff we don't need, right? And there are many, many benefits, and you'll be reading this all the time now, to decluttering our lives. There's less anxiety, more happiness, less housework. Everything has a place, and you start to make more mindful purchases. And it can absolutely be life-changing to remove the overwhelm of your belongings and change your perspective from wanting more to having enough, right? Decluttering can also be a simple action. You can clear out your entire house or just your wardrobe. It's not always a huge, it doesn't have to always be a huge life-altering process, which is what makes decluttering and minimalism different for each other. So to start, you should, divide and conquer. Pick that room that really bothers you, that really, creates the most angst or anxiety when you walk into it, and choose to let go, choose to keep rather than let go. And sometimes, you have to go do that more than one time. I'm decluttering a house now, 5,600 square feet, because they're moving and downsizing. So, we've done maybe round one on the first floor, but there'll be another run because, you have to really decide what it is that's taking up too much space in your life. So now we'll talk about putting your papers in order, right? I love paper. I have a lot of it still, but I'm getting better at it. So when you're putting your papers in order, you should purge, right? Empty, shred, and get rid of everything, one area at a time. If it doesn't work, throw it out if you haven't used it in months, right? So I believe that when you're cleaning out any type of space, you have to empty it first, and then you put back things in that you've decided to keep. So then you gather and redistribute. You gather all the items lying around and put them where they belong. And how you do that is you establish work zones. What type of activity actually happens in each area of your office? For example, an overhead shelf for reference materials, filing cabinets, binders, even the space on your desk. Decide what needs to absolutely go there. And label everything, right? Use downtime to label everything for easy access. I have a great little P-Touch cube. It hooks up to my phone, an app on my phone, and I just absolutely love it. It is very easy to start setting up a filing system if you're keeping papers that way. And then also, as I mentioned, rethink your filing system. With electronic filing, you don't need as many files. Only keep those papers you want to be in easy reach physically, right? So I keep a lot of now my things that I know I don't need to have a hard copy of on my computer. I create folders. And I have a nice little system where the thing that I want to see first, I put a number 1 and an underscore and the name of the folder, because this is a folder I used recently. So this way I don't have to scroll down the page. I put like my first top 10 and I number them like that. And that helps a lot when I'm continuously using the same folders. So yeah, clear off your desk. Only have items on your desk which you use, family photos, and good memories. Okay. So organize your drawers, group things together, use the Marie Kondo container and container system, which I think I developed that before she did, because I think a lot of us have. You're putting extra, those nice little boxes you're putting in your drawers, and you're separating, and you're putting paper clips in one and pens in another. So, that's very useful in your desk drawers. Try not to keep any piles on your desk, at least weekly. Go through any piles on your desk or work area and deal with them one piece of paper at a time. What works for me, I don't know if it works for you, I just pile everything up and just go through the papers one at a time, and I trash or file or put it to do or a follow-up folder. And then periodically purge. I have clients who just have me come to their homes to help them every 3-4 months because they have not opened their mail. And I keep them focused on doing that, believe it or not. So you can do this monthly, quarterly, every 6 months, or once a year. And then always straighten your desk before leaving for the day, and try one or as many of these tips as you can, and you won't be spending time looking for things or shuffling for piles of paper. So your digital life, right? This is what I spoke about a few minutes. One place for all your documents, right? When filing electronically, either in your private drive or creating files in a shared drive, e.g. the documents folder, the default location in Windows. And create folders in a logical hierarchy. These folders are the drawers in your filing cabinet, so to speak. So use plain language. I know it's very easy to get, sometimes I name folders and I'm like, what did I name that folder, right? I mean, you can use the search bar on the upper right to search for the name of a folder, but try to keep it really simple. And then nest folders within folders. There are the main folders, so you can say like your health documents or insurance, and then under insurance, you could have homeowners insurance, car insurance, or you can list your, life insurance in those folders in the folders. So those are the main folders. And then follow naming conventions. Use description name for easy identification. And Windows has a maximum length of 260 characters for a file name, and use abbreviations whenever possible. So get specific, file as you go. Right? For example, if it is an invite to a client, but the date and name instead of a letter to Jane Doe. So try to be specific so that it's easy for you to search for. The best time to file a document is when you create it, right? So I know it is tempting to put it on your desktop, but it's so much easier in the long run to use the Save As option. And then, as I mentioned before, order your files for your convenience. If there are certain files you use a lot, create a lettering system or the number system, which I use, so they are pushed to the top of the document list. And then cull your files regularly. Do not delete old files. Instead, you can use a folder within the root folder called Archive or Inactive. And then back up your files regularly, which is very important. I have an external hard drive, and every so often I back up all my files because it is important, because you never know when these computers might go down. So that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you found some, tips. And if you have any questions, ask away.
I had a question about receipts. My husband collects receipts and he won't let go of them. And I tried to tell him that maybe he should get some kind of a scanner, put his receipts in the scanner, but he won't have it. But what else do you do with receipts? It's like.
And where does he keep his receipts?
On the bedroom dresser. All over the place.
And what are they, just for everything he's ever bought?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh boy. Well,
I've got him to get a little bit better with that. There's less accumulation, but what I do is I stick them in a manila folder and I put them in our file cabinet.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I was going to say to do if he doesn't want to scan them, which is, what I would do if I were him, to scan them. But yeah, they could just mysteriously disappear one day. I don't know.
Andrea, there's an app. It's specifically for receipts. It's something you can download on your phone and basically take a picture of that receipt and put it in that app, and it saves it for you forever. It's something my husband actually started utilizing because he wanted to be less cluttered and not have paper, even, the folders, because that's what I do. For my purpose, I have a file system, and every year there will be a manila folder with the year 2021, 2020, and that has all my receipts. That's not something he wanted to do because he wanted to be paperless. So he actually is taking advantage of this app.
So what is it called, the app?
I don't know. I would have to get the name for you because I don't use the app. I like my filing system of my Manila folder receipts. It's something he does because he wants to be paper free.
Okay. So that's good tip. Thank you.
Yes, very good. There's always an app for that, right?
There's
Yeah.
an app for everything.
App for
I
everything.
use an accordion folder. Every year I have a new accordion folder. So, you know, you open it up and there's 12 slots in it. So I have one for my personal receipts and one for my business receipts. Of course, I do have a bunch of accordion folders. I have to start throwing out the old ones, but
Yeah, because they get
at least they're organized.
You see mine? We think alike.
Yeah, yeah.
I scan mine in.
Well, you
I
have more
used to
receipts than
use-
me, though.
I'm sorry. I used to
Sorry.
use Neat. Anybody heard of Neat? Used to see them in airports and everything. But then when I went to search, I didn't think it was a good enough function. So now I scan them in and I put the key information into an Excel spreadsheet that can be sorted 10 different ways. That's what I do.
These are all good suggestions. Someone just put, Jennifer just put the chat, Genius Scan. Is that an app, Jennifer?
Yeah, it's an app you can download from the App Store. It's free.
Okay, great.
Yeah, if you go to the, I was going to say, if you go to the App Store and just type in receipts,
Yeah,
there's,
yep.
Receipt Pal and Genius Scan, and there's several.
Now I just have to get him to do it.
It takes a lot of time,
Yeah.
a lot more time than putting it in a folder by month or whatever.
Yeah.
Sounds like he needs a receipt pal in addition to the application called Receipt Pal.
Right. Hey, Andrea, make a deal with him. You know, you'll scan his receipts if he cleans the house or something.
Yeah, tomorrow I have a client I'm going to who has a home-based business, and I'll be doing some filing setup and filing for the coming year. Yeah, last year and this year. So yeah, you know.
One of the things I used to do before the scanner is I had a large like a index box, like you know how like index cards, they have a larger size one, and I'd put them by category. So, you know, if it's electronics and you have a warranty on it, I would keep them in that, you know, tab. And so it's a way to keep them a little more organized than getting lost in a filing cabinet. But if he doesn't want to scan them, that might be a good option.
Yeah, and I keep all of those household type things in a binder in leaves, you know, like those page holders. And then I have like a title in front of, you know, what store it came from and what receipt. And that's how I do it for the household items. But, you know, most of the manuals are online these days also. You can always download them and electronically file them. So there's a lot of paper we really don't need. We're just so used to holding on to it. I know I am, but I've gotten rid of, I'm down to like 2 drawers of, which is good for me.
Let's
Of
do what
paper.
you said about, you know, if you have electronic file, do you really need a hard copy? You know, and sometimes it's good to have a
Yeah.
backup if it's
It
an
depends,
important
right.
document, but
Well, that's where you should have your external hard drive to back it up
right.
in case your computer goes down. Because last February I had, I had my computer die on me. So I did have mostly everything backed up. And then you take it to, you know, the Geek Squad and they back up. They managed to get everything off there that I couldn't, you know, and they backed it up. But it is important to have a hard drive, an external hard drive to back up. Yeah. Because there are papers that you definitely, you know, I wouldn't keep, I have my, you know, my title or my mortgage electronic, but I still have hard copies of those things.
I have does anybody use a lockbox? I have one for my real important documents.
No.
It's,
Is it fireproof?
yes, it's fireproof, opens with a key. So I keep all my, you know, like license, and, you know, all the important paperwork that I need.
You might also consider, either in addition to or separate from the hard drive, using an electronic service like Google Drive or Microsoft Dropbox or others.
Yeah,
The reason why is, heaven forbid there was a catastrophe at home or a theft. You know, I got to believe a hard drive is going to be tasty pickings for a thief. So you'll lose your computer and your hard drive. But if you back it up to a virtual service or synchronize to the virtual service, so it's always the same. It's Google is free, Microsoft is free up to limits. It may make more sense.
Yeah, I have Google Drive. I works well for me. I like it.
Yeah, and you can synchronize. So as soon as you update your PC, it is completely updated on the Google Drive or the Microsoft. Of course, if you delete the file on your PC, it will delete it from the Google Drive, which is why you want the periodic backup as well, which is a snapshot.
It does? I didn't know that. It deletes automatically?
It synchronizes.
Oh, okay.
If you do it for synchronization, when you add, it adds. When you update, it updates. When you delete, it deletes. If you just do it as a timed backup, similar to the hard drive, it won't delete it. It'll just be that snapshot.
I see. Okay.
Good to know.
Anybody else have any questions about organization? Thank you, Audrey. That was
Well, you're welcome.
informative. It
Thank you.
made me more conscious too of what I need to do. I always forget to back up my files. That's
So,
important.
Audrey, your presentation was something that just, we knew we had to do we knew we had to do it, but this is like, just in your face, get those drawers cleaned out, get those papers filed, because I've been telling myself, January is end of the year, beginning of the year is slow months for my business. And I'm like, those are my cleanup time. And I keep telling myself to, let's clean out that drawer. Let's get this paperwork filed. And every day I come to the office and I look at my stack of filings and I'm like, oh my God, let's do it another day. It's like procrastination, one hour.
I know that's why I use a little tough love with my clients, because a lot of people that, when it comes to that, they have ADD. They don't, they don't want to do it. It's not something you want to do. And so I just have to keep them focused when I go there, and we'll spread out on the counter and we'll get all the paper. And in a couple of hours, they're like so happy, because they would not have done that if I wasn't there. It's like I become an accountability partner for them. And then I'm going to start to do a house that needs to be decluttered. And I told her before I get there, just if you can, every day, 15 minutes, just take one little space and just organize it and declutter it. Just
one little section at a time.
Yeah, just one little section at a time.
Yeah.
And you'll feel like you're doing something is better than nothing. And so by the time I get there, I tell her, you'll save money if you do that. You won't have to keep me there so long to help you. But it's just that people don't have, it's like scheduling an appointment to get your hair done or something like that. You're not going to do this by yourself sometimes. You're going to need somebody to come in, and then when I get there, they see that, what am I holding on to this for? I don't need this. And all of a sudden it becomes less, they see it like through maybe, I don't know, I don't say anything, but they see it through another person's perspective. And it's like, yeah, you know what? I'm ready to get rid of this. And so we decide what to do with it.
Was another one's receipt. Oh, thank you, Pragati. Receipt scanner app. Okay.
That was easy, right?
So do you work with a lot of home sellers?
Yes, I do. I'm a licensed real estate referral agent. So a lot, and then I also do the estate sales and auctions, and I'm a member of the National Association of Senior Move Managers. So yeah, I do like everything.
And do you work with people that do house? What do they call it? When they get the house set up.
Oh, I do home staging also.
Home
yes.
Staging. Okay.
Yes, I do that also. Yeah, I use what's in the home basically. Because that's most people have enough stuff to show a house. So yeah, and it's cost effective that way too. So yeah, I also do that. Yeah. It's a very broad and varied category. So, yeah.
I think Nikki had a question. You have a question, Nikki?
Yeah, Steve, thank you. Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering, because I'm a note taker and I'm on so many Zoom meetings, I have a file that I have filled with just paper with notes, and then I never go back to it. And as you're talking, I'm thinking I should go get a binder and dividers and label it by the different types of meetings. And I'm thinking that doesn't even sound like a good idea. Any suggestions for how to keep track of? I have
So,
a table, but I'm not even using it.
so there's, CRM system, client relationship management. So there's Dubsado, which I don't use, and there's Trello, there's a lot more of them. And I use Excel right now, but I see that I do the same thing. I just started a new notebook, writing down people's, information, and then I have to go back and call them. But I have not found the perfect system except to just review everything constantly. But I'm told some of these other systems are pretty good, but for me right now, I don't want to learn something else.
Exactly.
I have to devote so much time to everything, but I've heard Trello's pretty good and Dubsado is pretty good also as a client. Yes, hi.
Yeah, I mean, no, I just want to add to that. I use Trello. I do the same thing, Nikki. I use OneNote. So I also use a pretty thick book, but I'm trying to move out of the notebook. So I use OneNote for all my notes. That gets segregated pretty nice. And I use Trello. Trello is an excellent platform for your goals, to-do lists, and everything else. You can put in different buckets and all. So Audrey, I have a question for you.
Yes.
It's not related to, you are in a very unique niche segment as such. So, how do you, and it's from a learning perspective, how do you source your, how do you find your clients? I mean, how do you promote your business to get the clients as such?
Well, before COVID, I networked, several times a day with different groups. That's how I met Nikki and, all of you people too. And now all my business is really referrals. I get some people from the website. I'm trying to get more, I have a virtual assistant that I need to make better use of because I do need to post more on Facebook. They changed the way that it was done, and I'm like, I learned it, I was doing it, and then now I have to relearn it again, but I want to get someone else to do that. And then also Instagram. But right now I'm very lucky that I have a lot of referrals coming to me, and it's basically all from the networking that I did. Going into people's homes, and I partner with a company called Max Sold to do the online estate sales and auctions. So I'm involved with them, but it's basically the networking that has really helped me out.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Great, these are really good, but helpful, giving suggestions. Audrey, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Andrea.
Quite informative.